Hi there, JC De Guzman here once again for our daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis. And this video is for June 18, 2019, Tuesday, in preparation for the next trading day tomorrow, June 19, 2019, Wednesday. So everything that I'm going to speak about or speak in this to talk about in this video is for short-term trading purposes. And today I'll be talking about GTCAP, PHEN, JGS, Chelsea, FNI, Security Bank, ALLHC, PNB, SHLPH, and Surpass. Some of these stocks are the exact same stocks that I talked about in the previous video, yesterday's video. Right? And if you are watching these daily videos, I'm sure you're familiar about those stocks that we have been repeatedly discussing in our daily videos. So anyhow, we will begin with the first stock in our list. We have GTCAP Holdings. This company closed today at 880 pesos per share. Support stands at 792. Resistance is at 900 pesos per share. MACD is still moving above the signal line. It managed to rebound a little bit higher than the signal line on June 17, despite the registration of a red candlestick. So that was a good indication. It was a good indication of the strength of the bulls on that particular day. Okay, so we're seeing a green candlestick that closed above its VWAP of 870.16 or 17, 860.7, 870.17. That's a bullish signal. And foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 153 million pesos today. For 2019 year-to-date, foreign fundies are unfortunately still net foreign sellers for 2019. Okay. I'd like to mention also that despite the position of the last candlestick above the 10 SMA, the negative DMI is still hovering the positive DMI. So there's still no clear indication of a formation of a bullish convergence between the positive and the negative DMI. For me, GTCAP must break above 900 pesos per share for us to see a crossover between the positive and the negative DMI. With the positive DMI hovering or positioned above the negative DMI. Because when that happens, when the positive DMI is already moving above the negative DMI and when the ADX is above 25 points, that's an indication that of a strong upward momentum for that stock. So that's what we are looking for here, and that's what we're waiting to happen. Should of course, should the GTCAP continue to inch towards the resistance at 900 pesos per share. RSI is still far from the classical overbought level, and this indicator is also pointed to the northward direction already. Okay, so if you have had GTCAP, I suggest that you stick with your trailing stop loss. And by the looks of what has happened on GTCAP for the past few weeks, I presume that your trailing stop loss is still intact and that you're still holding onto your position. Well, that is, of course, if you have picked GTCAP for short-term trading purposes. Now, let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart of this stock. GTCAP here. Remember, it closed today at 880, and that is the intraday high. See, 80% of today's volume was registered at the intraday high, which happens to be the closing price as well at 880. If we are going to disregard 880, I would say that the dominant range is between 854, let's say, 852 to 858. 852 to 858. Is it possible for some cross trades? Is it possible that some cross trades happened at 880? Yes, it's possible, because it got 80% of today's volume, but the number of trades registered at that price only was only totaled to 11%. So there's a strong possibility that a huge cross trade or cross trades plural happened at the price level at 880. So I would still put the dominant range between 852 to 858. Okay, 852 to 858. Anyhow, as far as short term, as far as today's activities are concerned, I would say that I remain bullish on GTCAP. Okay, I remain bullish. So particularly, specifically speaking, the price is still above the 10 SMA and MACD is still above the signal line. Meaning to say, if you have been a subscriber for a while now, you are familiar, you are aware that the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combination are still true. Okay? Now, if you have had GTCAP, you might want to ask, is it logical for me to add more shares? It is still logical for you to add more shares because the 4-point criteria that we always monitor, which I always say in my daily videos, are still true. They are still present. So it's just that you don't have to buy at any price. Make sure that you buy within the dominant range that I mentioned a while back, 852 to 858. Yes, 852 to 858. How about those who don't have GTCAP yet? If you would like to do a test buy, you can also do that within that dominant range that I've mentioned. And I suggest that you should not trade GTCAP or any other stock, of course, in a one-time, big-time fashion. Make sure that you buy in tranches. Okay, make sure that you buy in tranches. Don't put all your eggs in one go in any stock, especially whenever you do short-term trading or active trading. All right, so that's my sentiment and recommendation for GTCAP. Let's move on to this FINMA Energy Corporation. Okay. A while back, this afternoon, one of the subscribers asked me if he should accept the tender offer. Here's the thing. How much was the price being offered through that TO, tender offer? Is it higher than 2.65? If it is higher than 2.65, then there is an incentive to accept that tender offer. But if it is lower than 2.65, it doesn't make sense accepting a tender offer that's lower than 2.65 if you have the option to sell at a higher price, right? So that's a simple logic behind it. So the idea behind the tender offers is that by classical definition, some companies offer TOs or tender offers by offering a price that is usually higher than what's currently being traded in the market. But in the case of FEN's TO, I think it's just 1 point something, less than 2 pesos per share. So there's no incentive, or it doesn't make sense to accept that. Because if you would like to earn, sell at 2.65, right? Instead of selling your FINMA shares to FEN at a price that's less than 2 pesos per share. Okay? Alright, so now FEN closed today at 2.65, support is at 2.16, resistance remains at 2.77. The exact same lines that you saw in the previous videos. How many times have we discussed FEN this June? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 trading days already. Okay. MACD is still, let me show this. By the way, foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 11 million pesos today. And the closing price is above the 10 SMA. It also closed above its VWAP of 2.6. RSI is pointing to toward the northward direction, but it's still quite distant from the classical overbought level. MACD, unfortunately, is still moving below the signal line, and I don't see a crystal clear formation of a bullish convergence with the signal line yet. So perhaps when FEN registers another green candlestick, if it will do that tomorrow, we might see a formation of a bullish convergence between MACD and the signal line. Okay, and all 3-point criteria are present. Let's see if the trade and volume distribution chart will complete the 4-point criteria, the presence of those 4 criteria. PHEN closed today at 2.65, and that is close to the intraday high. But the dominant range here is between 2.59 or 2.6 to 2.65 in favor of the buyers. So I remain bullish on PHEN. If you have had PHEN for the past few weeks, you should be safe for as long as you know where your trailing stop loss is. Do not forget to activate or sell once your trailing stop loss gets hit. Do an upward adjustment every time the price moves higher than the uh, than your trailing stop loss or than the previous price of PHEN. Okay, for example, if you entered a new position today at 2.65, when PHEN registers a price higher than 2.65, even if it's just 1 centavo, it doesn't matter how much it went up. For as long as it went up, you have to do an upward adjustment. Okay, if it goes down, no adjustment should be done. There's only one kind of an adjustment that we do in our trailing stop loss, and that is an upward adjustment. You cannot lock in your profits if you are going to do a downward adjustment. Make sense? Okay. All right. So you still have a data-driven reason either to hold your position or to add more shares, provided your trailing stop loss is not yet hit. And if you would like to enter a new position, make sure that you calculate your reward to risk ratio first. Take note that when the price breaks above 2.77, your psychological resistance is pegged at 3.35, which is aligned to the 61.8% of the up Fibonacci extension here. Okay? I remain bullish on PHEN. Next, we have JGS, another index company. It closed today at 63.85, support is at 56.20, resistance is at 69.6. While it is moving above the 10 SMA, yes, it's still moving above the 10 SMA. It's already moving above the 10 SMA, and I'm seeing a perfect bullish alignment among its 3 SMAs on the daily chart. MACD is also looking good. It's above the signal line. The negative DMI, although it's still above the positive DMI, we might see a bullish convergence between the two lines, the positive and the negative DMI, once the price registers another green candlestick, hopefully tomorrow. Okay, RSI is still pointing towards the northward direction, but it's still quite distant from the classical overbought level, thereby giving JGS more room to challenge the resistance at 69.6. Okay, let's take a look at its trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is at, oh, by the way, 63.85. The closing price happens to be the intraday high as well. 46% of today's volume was registered at that price, with only 4% total number of trades. Therefore, I'm going to pick 62 to 62.55 as the dominant range. It's still in favor of the buyers, even though it looks like it's not. Okay, it's still in favor of the buyers. 62 to 62.55. So therefore, you have a data-driven reason to top up or to enter a new position. For the new entrants, make sure that you are happy with your reward to risk ratio first before you do a test buy within that range. I'd like to mention that if JGS will start tomorrow at the opening bell at a price lower than 63.85, it's more prudent to stick at the dominant price or range between 62 to 62.55. Okay, instead of immediately parking or buying price at 63.85, the closing price, try to wait first within that dominant range that I've mentioned. Okay, I am bullish on JGS in the short term. It also, by the way, it also appears bullish in the long term on the daily chart. The last candlestick is higher than its 200-day SMA. Okay, Chelsea closed today at 7.5. Support, it broke above the previous resistance at 7.18, by the way, which now acts as its current support. Therefore, making 8.94 as its current resistance level. If it breaks below 7.18 again, it will make 6.2 as its current support. But for now, it doesn't see it does not I think it's not more likely to happen because of this tall bullish volume that we have witnessed today. MACD is above the signal line. RSI is a few points away from the classical overbought level, but the upward momentum remains very strong. Okay, upward momentum remains very strong. Let's take a look at Chelsea's trade and volume distribution chart. Yes, it's in favor of the buyers. The dominant range is between 7.4 to 7.5. That's closer to the intraday high. So try to park conservatively within that range if you would like to add more shares or if you would like to do a test buy. And for the new entrants who are planning to do a test buy tomorrow, if you're going to calculate your reward to risk ratio and make 7.18 and 8.94 as your support and resistance levels respectively, as early as now, I'm telling you that you will get a thicker potential reward than potential risk. So you can do a test buy within that range, but make sure that you know where your trailing stop loss is so that you're not clueless on what to do should Chelsea decide to retreat back below 7.18, the previous resistance area. Okay? Alright, next, I am bullish on Chelsea. Next, FNI, ferronickel. It closed today at 1.48. The acting support is at 1.45, or we can say at 1.4. Resistance is at 1.6 or 1.7. Apparently, it managed to respect the current support at 1.45 by closing today at 1.48. But volume-wise, I'm not yet that convinced, even though it appears that it's higher than its 10-day volume average. I am not yet that convinced. For one, it's still not higher than the 10-day simple moving average. Okay, the last price, take note, the last price is not yet higher than, not yet, okay, not yet higher than the 10-day simple moving average at 1.48. Okay. And MACD is still moving above the signal line. I would suggest that you wait for the satisfaction of the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combination before you do a test buy on FNI. I don't even recommend preempting the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo in the case of FNI. I'm not saying across all 300 stocks in PSE, just in FNI. I don't recommend preempting the conditions of the 10 SMA and MACD combination for FNI. Okay? I suggest that you wait for those conditions to be satisfied. Do not preempt even if the 4-point criteria are all present on FNI's chart today. Even if. Okay? Now, if you choose to disobey that, it's up to you. It's your money. Okay? So, there you go. Let me just show you FNI's trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 1.46 to 1.48. Okay? Despite the appearance of all the 4-point criteria, I remain bearish on FNI. You're better off being risk-averse on FNI. That's my sentiment on this stock. I am personally risk-averse on FNI, meaning to say I am a little bit conservative on my sentiment and conviction towards trading FNI. But that's me. Okay? You can consider what I've said, but at the end of the day, base everything on your risk tolerance and your investment horizon. Okay? Next, Security Bank, SECB. An index company. It closed today at 162.5. Support is at 160. Resistance is at 185. It already broke below not just below the 10 SMA, but also below the 200-day SMA, thereby making Security Bank bearish in the short term and long term on the daily chart. If you're going to check our long-term investing tab, I already placed bearish on the short-term rating for Security Bank. Okay? So as early as now, even though I'm not yet done discussing my analysis, you already know that I'm bearish on Security Bank. Well, obviously, by just looking at this chart. MACD is busy moving below the signal line. RSI is busy, is also downward, downward sloping, and the negative DMI is above the positive DMI, although the downward momentum is not yet very strong. But don't wait for the downward momentum to become very strong, okay, before you recognize the fact that it's not yet ready to enter a new position in Security Bank as far as short-term trading is concerned. Okay, it's still bearish. Let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart here. Okay, and it closed today at 162.5. Where is 162.5? Is it closer to the... Oh yeah, it's the intraday low itself, 162.5. The dominant range is between 162.5 to 163.7. It's more likely for the price to continue moving towards the bottom. Don't enter a new position. Wait for the price to... Wait if the dust is already settling down once the price touches 160. Okay? If there are no signs of recovery, then don't hurry. Let it fall. Let it fall. If don't enter a new position yet. Now, if you happen to have Security Bank already for short-term trading purposes, like what I always say, you sell once your trailing stop loss gets hit. And as early as now, I'm telling you that you can preempt your trailing stop loss. Sell even before your trailing stop loss gets hit. Why? Because it's more likely for the price to continue moving towards the bottom. Okay, next. ALLHC. It closed today at 3.62. Support remains at 2.83. Resistance is at 3.9. The exact same lines that I showed you in the previous video. Yes? So if you have had ALLHC in the past few weeks or few days, I suggest that you hold your position. Don't top up. Hold your position, of course, if the price is still moving above your trailing stop loss. Otherwise, why should you hold your position? You have to sell then. Alright? Now, is it logical to enter a new position? No. Just like how I have advised those who have ALLHC not to top up, I'm also advising those who are planning to enter a new position not to do so yet. Not yet. Okay? Do you see this tall red volume bar here? Are you not scared on on this red volume bar? So wait for the appearance. Wait for the appearance of the 4-point criteria that we are monitoring. Green candlestick, last price above the VWAP, dominant range closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, a green volume bar that is at least higher than the 50% of the 10-day volume average. Those four. Wait for those four to become perfectly present in favor of the bulls, of course. Okay? Alright. Besides, another reason why you should not hurry in entering a new position is that MACD is still moving below the signal line. So this is more of a game for those who manage to enter a new position on ALLHC at an earlier period. So this is more for them. New entrants, eyes on other stocks for now. Okay, this is not for you yet. Okay, ALLHC, this is the dominant range. 3.62 is closer to the intraday low here. Okay, but the dominant range is between 3.7 to 3.79. But don't even look at that range. Focus at the price to the bottom. Why? Because there's the possibility for ALLHC to register another red candlestick tomorrow by the looks of this tall red candlestick. Okay, so I am bearish on ALLHC for those who are planning to enter a new position. For those who already have this stock, stick with your trailing stop loss and everything that I've been teaching you in the forum. Okay, next, PNB. PNB closed today at 50.10, below the previous support at 50.7. The acting support now is at 38.8. It's already moving below the 10 SMA and the 50 SMA. Therefore, it's already bearish in the short term and medium term on the daily chart. As soon as the price breaks below 48, it will officially make PNB bearish not only in the short term but also in the long term scale on the daily chart. Okay? So, what does that mean? Enter a new position? No. No, no. Don't enter a new position yet. Take a look at the DMI. Okay? One more red candlestick and it will officially place PNB's downward momentum in a strong category. One more red candlestick and the downward momentum will officially become very strong. Okay? So don't catch a falling knife or even a falling kitchen sink. Whatever that means. Okay? Alright, MACD is still moving below the signal line. I see no formation of a bullish convergence between MACD and the signal line. Another reason why you should not buy PNB yet, why you should not enter a new position yet. Okay, so I am bearish on PNB. Let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart. 50.10. So it's between 50.10 to 51. That's the dominant range. So it's still more likely for PNB to register price lower than 50 within this week. Okay, next, SHLPH. This stock closed today at 37.35. What did I say in my previous video yesterday? I discussed SHLPH there as well in my previous video. Yes, I did. What did I tell you? Don't buy it yet. Don't buy it yet, right? It's the same advice. Same piece of advice. This is where your psychological support is, 31.6. It closed today at 37.35. Okay? All indicators are still bearish. The downward momentum is still very strong. Okay? Even if RSI has already touched the classical oversold level, this does not necessarily mean that you should buy already. No. That's not how you read RSI. When the other indicators are still telling you or showing you that the downward momentum remains strong and there is no sign of stepping on the brake pedal, then you should not buy yet, even though RSI is already inside the classical oversold level. Being oversold does not mean you should buy. Did you hear that? Being oversold does not mean you should buy. Okay? So there you go. I'm bearish on SHLPH. I'm not going to elaborate that further because I already discussed the chart in the previous video. The dominant range is between 37.35, between 37.3 to 38. 37.3 to 38 in favor of the sellers, closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. I'm bearish. Last stock for today's video is SurePass. It's closed today at 1.04. Support remains at 0.9. Resistance is at 1.35. I already discussed SurePass in the previous video, yesterday's video. Okay, so SurePass unfortunately registered another red candlestick today, and it will be more likely for SurePass to continue trading the range, just like what I have mentioned in my previous videos last week. It might continue to trade the range between 0.9 to 1.35, and if I'm not mistaken, I also mentioned in my previous videos where I talked about SurePass that I would be more interested to trade SurePass once it breaks above 1.35, but I find it boring to trade SurePass between 0.9 to 1.35. This is just a range. Sometimes I'm impatient trading ranges. Yes. I find it worthy of my time and capital to trade stocks that are already trending or that are bound to trend, and not on boring stocks that are in a consolidation or in a range, trading in ranges. Okay, holding stocks that are in a consolidation phase, that's more applicable when you do long-term investing, but not when it comes to active trading. Okay, so different purpose, different strategy. So please do not apply the strategies that I'm teaching you in short-term trading in long-term investing. Okay? They are two different animals in the same forest. Okay, long-term investing and short-term trading. So don't apply the strategies that I'm teaching you for short-term trading in long-term investing. It won't match. Okay? It won't match. It won't work. So I am bearish on SurePass still. Okay, so you've heard my technical analysis and overall sentiment for these 10 stocks for today. I do hope this recording of daily videos uh, has been helping you trade independently and profitably in the stock market. And if you have follow-up questions, please tell me or ask in the private clients forum. Okay? And can I also ask a favor? Can you, whenever I create a new thread in our forum, can you leave a note about what you think about these videos so that I would know, so that I will have an idea how many of you are really anticipating or watching these daily videos. Although I can check how many views each video got, uh, I still prefer hearing it directly from you. How do you find these daily videos? So when I publish the link for June 18, please leave a note so that I will have an idea how many of you are actually watching or listening to the daily videos. Okay, again, my name is JC De Guzman, and this is for our daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis. Have a great day.